Yep, it is. It's in direct control. They're not going to own the coal mines, but and the coal processes. What they do is just tax you, and they can control us. And I've argued the case that we don't have private property in this country anymore because we have all the responsibility and liability. But can you use your land without getting permission? You have to get 20 permits to use your own land. And in order to stay on the land, you have to pay huge taxes. So we pay rent to stay on our own property. Can't use unless you get government control and government permission. But here now, the permission isn't going to just come from Austin or just come from Washington. Now we're going to have to go to La Hague or wherever they control things. And the big thing here is it slows things up so much. I imagine a few of them think that they'll be able to manage this and we'll be able to help take care of everybody, but obviously that isn't the case. They're going to make this world a lot poorer.
So Obama is the Pied Piper after 8 years of George Bush and all of his New World Order policies to lead America into the New World Order. That's why Newsweek's calling him the president of the world. They're calling him that in British and German and French newspapers. Obama mania in Germany. I mean, they are calling him the one. They are calling him the leader. I mean, anytime you see that in history, Congressman, isn't that dangerous?
I mean, that means not only dangerous, but maybe we have crossed the Rubicon. Maybe it's going to be very difficult. So we have to look for sources of optimism, and what do we do? Ultimately, though, all that happens to us is a result of philosophy and beliefs and convictions, and that's where I think we've made some inroads. In spite of the shortcomings of our campaign, I think we made some inroads in calling attention to a lot of people in this country the importance of monetary policy, the importance of the central bank, the importance of how government causes so much problem. It's just that we're in the minority.
That's right. Your campaign covered all the issues that are now unfolding center stage on the world. But as you said, the global crisis they were going to engineer, for decades you've said this, that when we came to that point, it would be would the free market and liberty and freedom be able to use the crisis to expand liberty, or would the establishment who orchestrated it use it to bring in more bondage? Now, I want to get into the trifecta, the House, the Senate, so now the legislative, and the executive, at least for a year or two with just absolute power. How dangerous is that with Chucky Schumer talking about all these new taxes and more gun control and fairness doctrine restricting free speech?
I think it's very dangerous, and the first year is probably going to be the most dangerous year. And just think of Bush's first year, but he also had the 9/11 thing that he could use to scare everybody to death. And Obama will use the financial crisis. The crisis will get worse, and there'll be some more military skirmishes around the world. So he'll say, well, we got to do this, got to do this. And just as the Republican Congress wouldn't say boo to our Republican president, the Democratic Congress is never going to stand up. There'll be a couple, maybe a Dennis Kucinich and a few others who are principled and anti-war, but the Democratic Congress will not stand up to the president. As a matter of fact, a lot of Republicans might say, hey, how do I stay in here? Obama's so popular, I better go along with it. I don't want to look like I'm in opposition to this. Sort of like how many people went along with the bailout. Oh, I don't want to look like I don't care about the financial crisis. I better vote for this. Oh, I don't want to look like I don't care about, the danger of the terrorists coming here. I better vote for the Patriot Act. There's going to be a lot of that, and there's going to be a lot of legislation passed, I think, in the first year.
Well, that's the issue. Obama's called for a 1 million-man youth brigade as large as the military domestically spying on us. He supports the warrantless wiretaps. The Air Force has now announced more brigades being added to NORTHCOM. To talk about crossing the Rubicon, what is the left, the mainline left, going to do when they realize that Barack Obama is actually going to intensify all of the policies that George Bush had?
Well, there's not too many left. I mean, you have the Ralph Naders and others, but they get marginalized, just as I was in the Republican Party. So those who are principled, who object to this, aren't going to be heard from, and people are going to go along with it. And that, of course, is where our problem is. So I don't know. It doesn't look all that good.
No, it doesn't. Congressman, how do we prepare for this? How do we stop the I mean, we've already had the government triple under George Bush. Now Obama's talking about expanding it even more. I mean, what do we do, in your educated opinion, to somehow save the republic?
Well, they're going to claim they're saving it because they take all these people up and put them in all these organizations in the military and type of things. Say, oh, unemployment rates are going down. That's what they'll probably argue. No, we have to continue to do what we're doing. You're in the business of passing on and spreading information. That, to me, is the most crucial. Getting more people engaged, more people understanding what the issues are. Nothing else is more important than that. And then when you see an opportunity, then we have to turn this into political action, and hopefully we don't give up on that too soon, but it does get rather frustrating, especially after elections like this. But there's going to be special elections. So, there's 2 senators that have to resign now. There'll be special elections there. There'll be, congressmen there'll be special elections. In special elections, it gives you a better opportunity for us to spread our message and identify, because turnouts are lower. That's how I won office the very first time. If I hadn't won that thing, I'd have never been in politics.
Congressman, do you think that we are in danger of not just them using the staged economic crisis that they created to get total control, but Gulf of Tonkins, because they're also talking about terror attacks, inaugural bombings, Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda wants to test the resolve of the United States. Do you think that's in the cards?
Oh, it sure is. But back to the philosophy, it's the philosophy of the Bush doctrine, which was that we have the right to preemptively strike anybody. And then he even expanded that recently by saying, well, we don't have to invade and conquer, but we have the right to go in and bomb anybody without their permission. That's why we we go into Pakistan and into Syria, which are acts of war. So they have the tools to do it, and they have the sentiment, and most Americans are oblivious to what's happening.
So you're saying you think members of the establishment might stage something so that people will then support more warmongering, but this time by Obama?
Yeah, of course, we've been worrying about that for a long time. I thought it would have occurred sooner because Bush was so anxious to go into Iran. It hasn't happened so far, so maybe our talking about it made him back off a little bit.
Congressman,
that doesn't mean we should be complacent.